I can't stress enough the importance of Session Zero. Last episode of the B Team, I brought in elements of a couple of the characters' backstories. They knew this was going to happen. They expected it to happen at some point. They didn't know when, they didn't know how, but I did it. And even when we have fail-safes in place, we've done our session 0. We've talked about lines and veils. We have consent forms. We have, mechanics put in place should something happen during the game where we need to stop play and rewind or do whatever we need to do. We can have all of these elements in play and still fail as a dungeon master, or still fail as a player to do what we need to do to avoid triggering, to avoid being reminded of past traumas. And this happened in the last game with the B Team. The player was so struck by how accurately I portrayed an NPC in relation to something that happened in their own life that they couldn't speak. They couldn't even yellow flag the situation. Luckily, another player sensed what was going on and stepped in and helped me to redirect the scene. And I didn't find this out until after, actually the day after we played, when the player came to me. And not to be mean, but to apologize to me for not yellow flagging when they should have. And I told them it was okay. And I said, hey, look, I can tone it down. We can stop entirely. I actually have a contingency plan in place because this was an NPC where they were trying to get information from to continue with the story. And I told them, hey, I even have a contingency plan in place for you to get this same information another way. And they said, no, we can do it. I think I can handle it. But here's the rub. This situation the player had, and I'm not going to go into details, but it is very similar to the same kind of situation I had at one point in my life. And in running this scene, I drew upon the words and the actions of the person who had personally traumatized me in order to play this NPC. So this scene was difficult for me as well. So the importance of Session 0 is really, it's not just to protect players, it's also to protect your dungeon master. Because from time to time, the dungeon master is going to have to portray an NPC that is going to be not so nice, that may potentially be triggering or trauma-inducing to your players. And sometimes that DM may draw from their own personal experiences in order to portray that NPC accurately. And my player knew once this scene started that, Eric's going to do such a good job with this might be a problem. And unfortunately, it did become a problem, but we addressed it afterwards. So while Session 0 is important, and while having mechanics in place to, during your game to help mitigate these types of things, they aren't always going to work. So it is important, very, very important to maintain open and honest communication with your players throughout your campaign, both in and out of game. That is probably the most important thing about playing these games, especially longer campaigns, is maintaining the open and honest communication with your players throughout the entire campaign. Be available to them all the time. And hopefully your players can be available to you too, if you have a problem as a DM or a game master with portraying a certain NPC a certain way. This player is interested to hear the audio clips from this scene because they want to hear more accurately how that other player stepped in and kind of helped me redirect things, because they did a good job with actually acting emotions very, very well. But I'm not sure that I want to put that clip together and post it. I'm going to have to talk with my players first and make sure that everyone is 100% on board with that. So, yeah. Just keep this in mind, DMs. Session 0 lasts your entire campaign. It's not just for the beginning. Session 0 lasts the entire campaign. Check in with your players from time to time and make sure things are going okay with them. And be available to them if they have a question or a need or a concern. Don't brush them away. Have a great week, everybody. Still kind of dealing with this myself, so